Remember that motherfucking check. You can catch me at your door, you can catch me in your home. Oh, you're running late, just send the address to my phone. Copy, paste, and go. Baby, don't be playing with me. I could come through and take off your shit. Take off your gear, take off your keys. If you hold back, that's the wrong way to be. Don't fuck with me, don't fuck with me. If you hold back, just remember this, please. Alright, alright. They try, but they'll never get by, baby. Alright, alright. You can try, but you'll never get by, baby. Alright, alright. They try, but they'll never get by, baby. Alright. Anything goes, but don't go with me. If you hear talking, stay silent to eat. I already see right through you, honey. I don't need no time wasted, no more time wasted. If you keep running, just stay on your toes. You know I don't play by the rules. If you fucked up, one's got to go. You ain't never gonna catch me sipping ball. Got to stay in your lane. Better know where you are, why you came. When it comes to the pain, don't just stray. Oh, alright, alright. They try, but they'll never get by, baby. Alright, alright. You can try, but you'll never get by, baby. Alright, alright. They try, but they'll never get by, baby. Alright, alright. There's a silent treatment behind you. You already know the damage around you. Boy, you're up to me, it's nothing, I promise. You already seen your homies go down, so don't pretend you know. Bonus shit, I'ma clown you. Paranoid thoughts, I know they will drown you. Better watch your back while you're on your lonely. You better know who's watching your homie. Oh, you try, but you'll never get by, baby. Oh, they try, but you'll never get by, baby. Oh, they try, but you'll never.
Life, love, and the pursuit of happiness. All that we all want, and all that we all need. To beg and plead for the 7 degrees of separation is to see life and leave. You think you want this and you think you want that. But in the end, it's all black.
everyone, and welcome to What the Quad. I am super excited to be back. It's been a while since you guys have heard my beautiful voice, and also you guys voted for me being the best host because there was a choice between me and me, so I appreciate that. Shout out to all the people to vote. Thank you for tuning in today and watching. We are really thrilled because we have some amazing guests that I'm so happy that we can get. And of course, the incomparable Matt Andrews is here as my guest host.
It's totally fine that I wasn't included in the vote
be?
for best host. That's absolutely fine.
It's best host of What the Quad. It was Jess versus Jess with cat ears. Jess with cat ears.
You never saw me in
won.
cat ears. You never gave me a chance. I just
No, but you won best hair.
I did win best hair. Modig,
Oh.
long cat. Yeah, on your face.
It was a really
welcome
tight.
everybody.
You know,
yeah,
that was,
welcome back.
It was the tightest vote of the Community Choice Awards. Is the best hair Matt being bald or long cat's long beard?
So what you're saying is not only did I not win best host, having done everything for DCL since the start of 2017, but I only barely won the award for best hair. So the award I got, I almost didn't. Well, thanks, Jess.
It's not my fault. This is a community thing. I had no influence here, so blame the community. Anyway, so thank you guys for joining. Today we are joined by two brand new pro pilots who we're really excited to have in the DCL. So there's SmashFPV from XBlades and Shrimpy Boy from SDT Perpetuumcoin. We're all going to learn how to pronounce that today. That is the challenge.
Yeah, we're having trouble, so I'm the same. No, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. It's awesome.
Definitely a pleasure.
I think we could just start by maybe you guys can say where you're joining us from, because there are different accents all over the place here, so it would be cool to know who's from where.
I'm personally from Canada, just shortly outside of Toronto, Ontario.
Is it nice
there? Oh yeah, I'm in Christchurch, New Zealand, in a little wee country town called Lincoln on the outskirts of the city. So
I actually know someone from there.
But yeah.
So yeah, you
like
guys
I genuinely know someone from there.
You guys are the first pilots we've ever had in the DCL from New Zealand and from Canada as well. So congratulations to both of you. We love it when we get, I mean, it's already such a big global series, but we love it when we go, hey, like a new guy from here, a new guy from here. And we've had a few Aussies, which are basically, like I said earlier on, just the same. But now we've got a New Zealander in. And as for Canadians, I mean, North America it's fine up there, isn't it, in Canada?
Oh yeah, no, it's starting to look really nice outside. It's starting to warm up.
Yeah, we're feeling similar
to
like our countries, like your landscapes look fairly similar to ours. Ours is just on a miniature scale, really.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely a lot of beautiful nature out here. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I just want to make a small point about SDT. So Spain Drone Team confirmed that we are pronouncing it correctly. It is indeed Perpetuumcoin.
Perpetuumcoin.
Just so everyone knows.
We're on.
But on to bigger and better. So for a quick recap, I mean, Matt, you can feel free to do the recap, but essentially at the start of the season, we did a... Matt, this is the part where you like are my number two.
To do all the work, to be honest. But yeah. So we've had the DCL draft, which is how we've started the DCL for the last few years, giving people a chance, giving you gamers a chance to come and try and get your spots in the DCL. It's the World Championship for professional drone racing teams. Everybody wants to be part of it, and through DCL the game, you could. So we had a challenge a few months ago now, where you could race your best times over a few tracks. And then we invited the top 300 pilots on those cumulative times to have a 24-hour window where we gave them a track they'd never seen before. And it was an interesting setup. And we'll talk to you, Smash and Shrimpy, about how you respectively approached it, because it was an interesting challenge. You could race it as much as you wanted for 24 hours, but you could only submit 5 times, and you had to pick them in advance. You had to go, right, this run is my run. You couldn't do a run and go, hey, that's my best time, I'll submit that one. You have to go, right,
Yeah.
this next one I'm going to submit. And if you wrecked it, tough. That's one of your 5 gone.
Yeah.
I don't know of any other series that do that. I think it's a fantastic challenge that we set people.
It is,
when
it is
you're
a
in
good
the
challenge,
zone, you want to kind of bank it. So, yeah, Smash. We'll talk about what you flew all this on in due course. But firstly, like the draft, had you thought about it in previous years? Were you looking to join the DCL for a while? Like, where was your first kind of taste of all of this?
So it all started for me back in October 2020. That's when I first picked up my, I guess you could say, the drone racing sort of scene. I bought DCL and I started flying. I started with the PlayStation remote, and that turned out it kind of limited me on what I could do and what I felt like I could do. So I went out and bought an actual transmitter. After I bought the transmitter, I found that I started to gather a good skill, and I had an actual talent for drone racing. So from there on, I noticed that there was a weekly events you could participate in, and there was also a draft that happened twice every year. I forget exactly now, but
We've had 2 the last few years, yeah.
yeah, right on. So I participated in a draft last year and ended up making it through and being contacted by a team, but needed to have a PC in order to participate. So I took it as like okay, let's try it again next year, see how it works. And yeah, so this year came around, and something sparked, I guess, that DCL decided to take on the first ever console pilot, and moving forward, we're going to see how it goes and how I can stack up and perform against the pros that are running on high performance PCs compared to the somewhat less performance of a PC that I would be obtaining.
I think it's important here
impressive.
to stress just how impressive it is that Smash got picked by XBlades,
unreal.
and DCL does not influence these decisions, just so it's clear. The teams 100% choose themselves. So you're the very first console player to ever make it in any DCL team.
I
And
appreciate it.
that, considering if you look at the draft
That's
race times, I believe that you were 10th.
I
Despite
was
being on a
before,
PS4.
yeah, before all this stuff settled in. I think final time was actually 12th, but who's actually
Yeah,
counting?
we
right?
were
I mean,
right
you were
behind each
really
other.
high up.
Yeah, high enough.
Oh, who was better of the two of you?
I think.
What do you mean? Me and Shrimpy?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were right. I'm pretty sure I was 11th. But
Yeah,
I'm not
I have to say, like, we were
pretty sure.
neck and neck
we were
for
right
sure.
next to each other. We were, because it was like, oh, whoa, there's Smash. It's like, oh, and he's on PlayStation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing for both of you, right? Those are really good
Yeah, of
positions to
course.
be for both of you. And then you go, hang on a minute, he's on console, and no one's ever kind of featured in console in that final pick before, which is great. You mentioned you were on pad first, Smash, and then you bought a controller, right?
Yeah, I started on the PlayStation remote. It's the only thing I had at the time, and it showed me like, oh, this could actually be really cool, because if I could do this with the PlayStation remote, just imagine what an actual drone remote would be, what an actual
So
transmitter
you
would be
hadn't,
like.
you didn't have a real transmitter. You hadn't flown a real drone. You weren't somebody who dabbled in that at all.
No, I actually never really touched any drones or anything like that before. Like maybe their tiny little air hog helicopter, like something like that, but nothing actual, like with four motors and able to fly around type of thing. So
Awesome. Well done, man. It's
yeah.
absolutely amazing. Like Jess said, we knew it could be done. That's why we've always had the draft specifically open. You know,
Exactly.
top so many from Steam, top so many from PlayStation, top so many from Xbox. Get you in there. Yeah, it's amazing that you've done it. We'll come back to that, won't we, Jess? Because I want to talk to you more about this transition you're going to be making. So Shrimpy, who was slightly ahead of you, he thinks as well. So when did you? Got to get that in. So when did you? Like, how long have you seen DCL? What was your first kind of exposure to all of this?
I've been aware of it for a few. Like, I have been racing for quite a couple. I probably first started sim racing in like early 2019, to be honest. So I have been racing for a while, but I thought I'd just start. Like, I've always wanted to try get in the big leagues, but I thought I'd just try hammer it a bit more. There's probably about recent year and a half, I'd say. So I've always known it was around. Like, I did the draft last year actually on PlayStation, because I couldn't get it to work on the PC, but I didn't do very well. But now this year,
Did you make it to the? Did you make it to the second stage? Did you make it to the race weekend? Hey, I mean that's brilliant. So you were in the top 50.
Already really good.
I was using my little sister's PlayStation under her name.
Oh my goodness!
It was all I could do.
I think I remember this.
Yeah.
I think there was you didn't you message me saying, "Hey, I haven't gotten an email because I was using someone else's account or something like that."
Oh, like there was a while that for like probably a few months I couldn't actually play DCL for some odd reason, so I had to do the draft on PlayStation. But I didn't go too well. But now ever since then, like when the draft came around this year, I was like, I'm just gonna try hammer it hard, And I don't know how you did the draft, Smash, but I just like woke up and just thumped it all day until then I put my times in because it was like, and then I noticed everyone was doing that, and I was like, where are all the times? And everyone did the same thing. I was like,
well, of course, you would have been. I mean, you New Zealanders. No, we ran the draft over the same window, didn't we, Jess?
It's 24. It's specifically 24 hours, so that all time zones and all people who have different life. You know, some people work in the evening, some people work in the day, etc. So that everyone is able to take part in it. That's the idea of the 24-hour.
So everybody had the same 24 hours. Nobody had longer than anyone else.
I missed mine up.
But I'm trying to work. I'm trying to remember whether you would have started. Was it 12 till 12 local times, Jess, or was it UTC?
I think it was UTC.
Okay, yeah. So, Oh, we got Shane Adams in the chat. Shane from DCL says Shrimpy came 11th, Smash came 12th, and there was 2 thousandths of a second between you.
Dang.
That is impressive. That's so impressive, man.
Wow.
I was stoked when I got that run, I was like...
Yeah, man. I actually only put in 2 attempts, honestly. I didn't even put in the last 3.
Oh, did you know?
The dude just comes in, does 2 attempts, and then gets to, like, amazing.
I said it. I was like, "There's no way I just completed that run that flawlessly. Like, I can't do it again. Like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do it again." It was already getting late in the day. I'm like, "Okay, I got to go to work in the morning. That's it. I'm done." Send it through.
Crazy, bro.
Wow.
Yeah,
Shrimpy, so you said you were grinding it though, Shrimpy.
Yeah, I was. Like, so I actually messed up my timing. Rookie mistake. So I messed it up by like 12 hours. So I only had half the time. Yeah, I know. Half the time to do it. So I was just hammering it. Or like I just spent the day in my room on the seat actually, just playing away. until the last hour, or it might have been last 2 hours. I think it would have been.
Goodness.
When you start to see all the names coming up, and I was just like stoked I got to kind of hold that position in a sense.
Nice. That's honestly really impressive.
We've got totally disorganized pilots coming in this year. We're screwed.
No, now
like, is it the semi-finals? I've just started racing. Sorry, team. I missed everything.
I mean, to be fair, I think Gabe Baressa is a great example of who is now world champion. So IQ 0. For Raiden, for the draft race, he didn't even know it was taking place. Someone from his then amateur team told him. He went on, he did his, I think it was 3 or 5 tries, just like quickly, and then logged off and went and fell asleep or something, and then found out like a few days later that he'd been the first pick. So
that's crazy.
He's impressively fast pilot.
This is very tough. I mean, I think this is one thing. He hadn't planned it. He
hadn't grinded for 24 hours without sleep.
Way to make us feel good.
You did what?
I think there are two schools of people. There are those who work hard and grind and make it through their hard work and grind, and that's amazing. I always have enormous amounts of admiration for these people. And then there are those who can just show up, do whatever, and still win. Those people annoy me.
Like
but
MCK and all them.
Yeah. No, MCK does. He works an enormous amount. I think this is a misconception. He is a very talented pilot, but he puts in, when every time Matt talks to him, the hours that he puts in to racing, not just sim, but also real life, etc.
It is, isn't it?
He really puts in the work.
It does. It kind of just goes to show that you can just do anything. If you like focus your mind to it like he does,
Yeah.
he just
Yeah,
dominates.
put your heart and soul into it, and
because he really wants
you
to.
can-
It's
Yeah.
impressive.
definitely.
Fits-
And you guys,
it's
are
more
in,
than-
which is amazing. So credit to you, and
Yeah.
like to everybody else who entered
No, I
the draft.
appreciate
You know,
it.
we're so grateful for all the thousands of people who entered, and then the
Oh.
top guys and girls who got invited to go and race off in the race weekend. This 24-hour thing where you had to, put your 5 or 2 attempts in to then get considered. And then the teams reach out and they have conversations with the pilots. So Smash, we won't ask you about any other teams. You are flying this year for XBlades Racing. This is something I'm going to have to get used to. Previous world champions. That's not words I've usually been saying for the last few years. XBlades Racing out of the UK lost the world championship title last year to Raiden. You're racing with XBlades. So, what happened with that for you? When did they reach out to you and you're like, oh my God, XBlades are in touch? You said you'd sort of looked at the draft in previous years. How did this all come about?
So it was actually quite random for me. Like I felt like I wasn't gonna get picked. Like I felt like nothing was actually gonna happen, because being on PS4, it's just like a high shot. You know what I mean? But come like the very last day where they're supposed to be picking their teams, I got an email and it was stating like, you need to send me all your information for a contract, and I was ecstatic. I was freaking out. Like there's no way. And it turns out that it was true, and that they were actually trying to get a contract sent out to me, and that that they needed me on their team, trying to make history. So
that's a very XBlades kind of thing. If there's going to be the first console player in the DCL, then they want to be the guys who had the first console player in the DCL, and that's fair enough too. So, and like joining a team XBlades, with all the resources, all the pilots they've got taking part in real life series all over the world, as well as always being just like so dominant in the DCL. Big team to join. So you must have been you said ecstatic.
Yeah, I was definitely really pumped for sure. Definitely really nervous too, because there's definitely a lot of stacked pilots on that team, and in order to compete, you have to actually perform properly and sit yourself properly in the internal trials and stuff like that. But it'll definitely be a very good learning lesson and a great way to build my skill and improve me as a pilot. So I'm looking forward to it.
That is a great attitude to take, Smash, because it's like everybody's really hungry at XBlades, so you can only get better.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
Shrimpy, you got SDT. So Spain Drone Team, they joined the DCL last year for the first time as like a permanent team in the DCL. Whereas previously we'd had them a few times as a wildcard team, and we used to have wildcard teams in the real life races. Somebody already asked in the chat, Jan Braverick has asked in the chat, do you speak Spanish? Which I think is a valid question and leads us into, when SDT reached out to you, how did you feel about that?
I was honestly, I couldn't believe it. Like when I got the email, I was just like, what? I jumped up out of bed I was just ecstatic. I was over the moon. Like I couldn't believe it at the start. I was like, this is crazy, and then now it all kind of kicked in.
Yeah.
I still feel surreal, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like joining them, I'm forever grateful. Like it's quite cool as well, because there's a couple of pilots in there like Squid and Truth that I've flown with prior to joining, and I don't know, it was cool linking up with them in the end and flying together now. I was just out of it.
I mean, it's a huge achievement. And so when it was SDT who were approaching you, of course they were getting sort of the first picks in the draft, having been the team who were lower down the leaderboard last year. Did you feel like, this is going to be a good fit? Did you know any of the pilots before?
Yeah, I was just stoked to make a team, just to be honest. Like, no matter who it was, I was just over the moon. Like, it could have been anyone. I was just I was just grateful to be picked. But no, it was just cool that Squid was in there, because he's a good buddy of mine, and we have done a lot of flying prior. But
also really good
pilot. And
pilot.
we both speak English, so that's quite good.
That helps.
You guys that speak
they're
English,
in
and the
chat.
Spanish
Spain Drone
team.
Team. Spain Drone Team say, we are very surprised and happy with his level and his commitment to the team. So far, your boss is happy.
Yes, sir. Good work.
It's definitely it's cool, like actually being like seeing the pace that's not in time trials with all these guys, you know, like
Yeah.
flying with them and seeing how consistent everyone is, and you know, it kind of just makes you, I don't know, you just see the real side of it, you know, because I always thought, oh, these guys are hitting these fast times all the time, every hit, but it's not always like that, and it just kind of, I don't know, give me a bit more confidence, you know. I'm not saying I'm really fast, but it just, you know.
Hey, you're in the World Championship now. You can tell us you're fast.
Yeah,
you
I
don't
mean,
have to.
you were
If you're not
obviously
fast,
chosen.
why are we here?
Well,
right?
compared,
You gotta.
yeah, I suppose.
It's always. I
You can
think
always
it's
go
always.
faster. That's the mentality I kind of have, you know. You can
Well,
always.
I mean,
improve.
yeah,
But
that's true. So,
Oh, sorry, Matt, you were gonna.
no, sorry, Jess. I was just gonna say. You sound like you're already involved in practice and you know, training and stuff with the teams already.
Yeah.
Shrimpy, this is so like some sort of online like info sharing and you know, squad grinding and stuff going on.
Yeah, so basically, like I don't know if we're allowed to tell this, but no, I'm sure it doesn't matter. We basically have trainings every Monday for a couple.
Oh,
of
you can
hours,
tell
and
us this
it's
sort of
just,
thing.
you know,
Yeah, the teams are all.
Yeah,
this
no,
is the type.
yeah.
We're
So
always
yeah, we
clear.
basically just have trainings on Monday mornings and just try, well, to get everyone together on the Discord chat and just grind. We just do flow flow tracks, and yeah, just try to get everyone talking. We're still been trying to like get to know everyone, you know, because I've only done 3 trainings, so
yeah.
But no, it's cool. It's just surreal, just flying with Alex Zamora and Tope, and it's nuts.
Yeah, I mean those
That's
guys
so
have been around for
cool.
so long, and if you miss
I've
any
looked up to Alex
announcements,
Zamora for a long time.
Well,
I
yeah,
remember
exactly.
seeing him on Instagram ages ago, and I was like, "Wow, mate, you are so impressively fast!" Like, well, and now I'm flying with him.
Yeah.
It's just like, what?
I mean, yeah, multiple time world champion. And if people have
Yeah.
missed any of the announcements that has been made over social media recently, Alex Zamora has been traded from XBlades, who he won 2 titles with, over to SDT, you know, his home, Spain. So really excited to see what Zamora's doing. And yeah, you got someone like that on your team. Like that's a you know, a fast pilot to learn from.
Yeah, no, it's good.
I mean,
we've got a pretty good team this year, I reckon. I'm feeling pretty confident.
Yeah. And XBlades, I mean, you know, what have we not said about XBlades in over the years, Smash? If you're going to join a team and learn from some pilots, there's 1 or 2 who know their way around a quad.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It'll definitely be an amazing feat to be flying with some of these pilots and stuff. Especially, I remember Pucka is on XBlades now, and he and I were battling against each other on PlayStation for like the longest time, and now we're finally teammates flying with each other. So it's gonna be pretty cool.
That must be so cool, though.
Yeah. It's gonna be pretty great.
From my recollection, both of you were on Cyclone, right?
Yeah.
Me and Shrimpy Boy, yes, we were both on Cyclone.
Yeah. So
There's a few
how does it
pilots
feel
from
knowing
Cyclone,
that you used to be kind of flying side by side as friends and togetherness in a team, and now you're flying against each other? How does that? Do you feel like there's going to be a change in dynamic, that you're going to know each other's secret weapons,
really
so
thought
you'll
about
use
that,
it
to
against
be
each
honest.
other?
Well,
No,
see,
we're
the difference
mates, man.
was, yeah, we're friends. We definitely like to cheer each other on, but we never actually really flew with each other. See, me being on PlayStation, and him being on PC, it was just kind of stacking up times and see like, oh, I'm close to you, buddy, or I'm past you, and he's like, holy cow, like you actually passed me, like that's crazy, like that's the kind of camaraderie and the sort of more motivation that we had coming from Cyclone. But now it's going to be an actual like see who's actually better, see who's faster, and see who can be as consistent, as well as having all that motivation, camaraderie, and all that stuff involved as well. So
yeah, it definitely helps pushing everyone like definitely makes
you know, this is a big shout for like amateur teams, right? Like Cyclone, you guys have always been very chatty in the DCL Discord. You know, there's a good kind of relationship and a public relationship there. You know, people are proud to be from Cyclone, and you guys are now showing what pilots can do.
Exactly.
I think if I didn't join Cyclone, it probably wouldn't have driven me as much. Like joining that team, that amateur team, kind of just drives you a bit more. Like it kind of gives you a taste of what it'd be like in a team. You know, like that vibe, and I don't know. It's more motivating, when you're with those fast pilots. Like you just want to beat each other. Like I was always trying to beat Barakdo's times and your times, and you know,
yeah, exactly.
It adds a different vibe to it.
It's also really cool to see people. Sorry.
Sorry, go
I'll just
Smash.
continue here. It's really cool to see people being taken from the team and introduced into a pro setting, like last year's draft where Gilbert and I forget a couple
Yeah.
others. There was one or two others I'm sure that were drafted, and it makes you want to be like them. It makes you want to be like drafted as well as just kind of compete towards their time, see see how fast you can be compared to them. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Just quick shout. Shane's in the chat as well. Welcome, Shane.
Oh,
Who
Shane.
number one pilot
Yeah,
in
what
the
a
DCL
legend.
draft. Congratulations,
What's
Shane.
up, bro?
Picked for a team this
what's up,
year.
Shane?
I see Nate's in the chat as well, who joined us last year. Lebega's in from SDT. So good. We're starting to get some of the pilots together. Thomas Kuntz, China Dragons, Star 23467 was the first one in the chat today as well. So yeah, the gang is starting to get together. DCL is back.
Heck
Yes,
yeah.
about time.
I feel like Star is always the first person in the chat and the last
Yeah.
person who stays. Like,
Star's
always
the
been
man.
one of our biggest cheer on people, and we really appreciate you for that, Star, on a personal level.
Just a super
Champion.
impressive pilot.
But yeah, I mean, Puka is there, Chryson's, like the whole gang is
Puka's in as
coming
well.
up to yeah.
Dr. Jenkin87
hi,
says Shrimpy is a classic Kiwi legend. So glad to see a Dutch team. There's enthusiasm for the sport. There you go, Kiwi legend. Red Corp wants me to sing. I see you.
I wouldn't call myself a legend. Working on it.
I think one of my favorite things about this community though is how all of you guys hype each other up. Even there's some of the people who took part in the draft who weren't necessarily picked, etc., will still be like really happy for all those who took part and were picked, and it's just really cool that you guys all have that kind of synergy there. But it's impressive how many Cyclone, because I think there was a substantial amount of Cyclone pilots that were picked. It was either Cyclone or Lightning Elite, essentially. Like they were the two teams that got stripped. Because I saw the Discord chat, there's a channel that's like looking for teams, and basically the Cyclone manager and the Lightning Elite managers were like, hey, we don't have a team anymore, do people want to join?
Yeah, we need 4 people. We need 3 people. Somebody help.
The pilots that have joined Cyclone are fast though. Like Bam, I don't know all of them, but Bambi, like he is up there. Like they pick out good pilots.
We've definitely got some more pilots that be coming into the pro scene within the next couple of years for sure on Cyclone. That's for sure.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say. God, hope.
So
yeah.
Smash? Let's talk about you on console, because this has to be explored.
Let's
do
do
it
it
with the PlayStation thumbs, then picking up the transmitter and going for it. So, what's your transition going to be? How are you going to take what you've managed to do on PlayStation into getting one of the starter spots for XBlades?
Well, to start off, it all become easier and like obviously like an equal playing field if I were to have like a PC that could run DCL at its max settings. But unfortunately, I'm used to 60 FPS or lower, so I'm gonna have to be able to compete on that sort of 60 FPS or lower. Hopefully I could stay at an even 60 FPS, and then I'll be able to be somewhat more competitive. But being on PlayStation 4, like you dealt with a lot of frame skips, a lot of just motion blur sort of feeling. It's hard to explain it exactly because I don't have a PC, so I don't know exactly what massive frame rate drops feel like, right? So it's just like, oh wow, it's really laggy right now. But once I get a PC, hopefully everything becomes a little bit more just like streamlined, just easier to play. Because for instance, Oil Bando Nighttime on PS4, it has struggles. Like it struggles very hard, but you can still put in a decent time. You just kind of got to get through the stutters and all the jitters and stuff. But
the one advantage
moving forward
to that.
Sorry.
Oh, go.
What's that?
I was just gonna say
I was
the
just gonna say
advantage
moving.
that you have. Just go.
Took the words right
Silence me.
All right. I was just looking forward to getting on PC and seeing what I can actually do, like performance wise, being on a better console or better platform. Sorry.
Oh, bro, you'll kill it, on PC.
Yeah.
I reckon. Like playing,
I hope so.
saying that, how I did the draft last year on PlayStation, getting this PC that I've got now, it kind of felt like I was playing a different game.
Yeah,
Honestly.
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I'm hoping for.
And it's not like you're transferring from Xbox
I was waiting
pads.
how long it would take you.
I didn't even realize.
Oh, that
Too
killed
busy
me.
looking
What?
at you.
What
There's a
was-
kiwi on his shoulder.
There is.
Amazing.
Oh, wrong side.
I was going to say it's not like transferring from like PlayStation to Xbox, and you've got to play it with a game controller, and you're like, oh, I'm good on a game with a PlayStation pad, but I can't do it on Xbox. I've worked on some esports where a well-known game that involves a football, and the final of a tournament I was doing in Russia actually had the best on PlayStation play the best on Xbox.
Okay.
So we had like a whole PlayStation half of the bracket and a whole Xbox part of the bracket, and the final was right. You two play it off against each other, but they did it once on PlayStation and once on Xbox. They played like a home and away because
Okay.
otherwise you can't do it, right? Unless I guess
Yeah,
we've
there's
done it
no
on PC
crossplay.
and they played it with their pads, but yeah, so we went one way and we went the other way, and that was cool. So it's not like you're going from that because you've got used to playing on PS4 with a transmitter, so at least physically you're there, aren't you? Frame rate,
Yeah.
etc., etc. That's going to be an effect, but you're some way there.
Yeah, that's one thing
just
I
reckon
always say
I
too
reckon
is.
your guess generally be faster, bro.
I hope
get
so.
one
I
out.
hope so. Seeing the proof from like say Shane and like Pucka and Zeesh and all these guys that came
Yeah.
from PlayStation and Xbox and jumped onto PC, they were fast. Like they're in the top 10, 15 within the first 2 weeks being on the console or on the platform,
Yeah.
right? So, but going back to the transmitter thing is like the one thing I always say to everybody that's starting is stick time is key. Like if you're getting on a transmitter, you need to put in the
100%.
amount of hours necessary. If you're not putting in the amount of
100%.
hours, you're not going to excel properly. So.
Yeah.
Like for instance,
Puck is in
myself,
the
I would
chat
get on
saying-
and I'd.
Sorry.
So
Go on.
I was just gonna say, for instance, I'd get on and I'd fly like maybe 2 hours max every. Like I'd have a 4-hour break in between, so I wouldn't burn myself out. I'd make sure I'm always doing okay. Like if I'm starting to get frustrated, I'd get off and then I'd jump back on later. So don't burn yourself out. Just make sure you're flying.
Yeah, that's a
you're
good
always
point,
flying.
though.
So yeah,
Technically, take breaks.
exactly. Yeah,
Breaks
you
are
don't want to burn
Because
yourself
you
out.
do just burn yourself out, and you get like you kind of just like going nowhere.
Yeah, this
you don't
sport
take a break,
requires
like,
so
take a
much
break,
focus.
reset. It does, yeah.
Definitely.
And your mind just goes
That's
blah
ins-
after a few hours, or mine does,
Yeah, you
When
melt your
get up,
brain.
move around.
Well, it's like athletes at any top level sport, isn't it? You don't
Yeah.
get sprinters who just go out and sprint all day. They'll sprint, they'll train,
Yeah.
they'll rest. You gotta have that downtime mentally and physically as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's part of it, I reckon. Otherwise, you just,
I
I
mean,
don't know, give up. Burn yourself out completely out. Oh.
I think
We've got Pucker
one
in the
of
chat
things...
as well, who's
Oh.
getting involved with DCL too, isn't he? And he's saying you'll be a few seconds faster on PC. He knows you.
Right
I
on,
think this is
Pucker.
what Smash and Shrimpy were saying, that we've seen a lot of examples of people who in the past year or so were on either Xbox or PS4 and finally managed to get a PC, and they just climbed straight up. I mean, we can think of Shane, who's the obvious example because he ended up being, draft picked and winning the draft. Despite he came from an Xbox controller, wasn't even a transmitter, so that was like a leap. But even with transmitter, like you say, you get the stick time, you get used to at least knowing how a stick works, because I still have no idea, to be very honest. And then you could transfer that to be able to having less FPS, whatever FPS means. It's something about how fast the screen goes, right? I'm gonna go ahead and
Yeah,
You know
frames
some
per
of this,
second.
yes.
He's just getting more information, really.
I don't know.
That's the
You
way I
know
see it.
what? There's so many terms, Matt, that I just see written and I just assume I know what it means. Like I have a rough idea, but I don't actually. And I'm just like, at this point, I've been here too long to actually be able to ask these questions.
So you're going to do it publicly on our chat show instead.
Exactly. No, I'm not doing it. I know. I'm
We're
just
doing it for the
saying,
benefit of
someone.
everyone.
Exactly. There could be some people watching who are like, hey, I don't really know much about FPV drone racing. And, you know, me pretending that I don't know this stuff because I'm clearly pretending is helpful
Take it
for
till you
them.
make it.
Exactly. I think so one of the things we wanted to do is take a look at the draft selection runs that the two of you had. So as we were saying, the draft race was the final step of the draft selection. It was on the oil bando track, I believe.
Mhm.
Yep.
Our track people made
It
a
was
special
long as
track
well.
for it that was designed to test different parts of competences that different pilots have in order to see, you know, a 360-degree view of what the strong points and less strong points of each pilot are. And if we can get it on screen, I think we're gonna get Shrimpy Boy's track, and maybe you can
Oh, there
walk
we
us
go.
through, you know, what you were doing and thinking.
Well, it's basically just I just kind of just full send it, to be honest. I don't really technically think about where, or, you know, just I try to keep tight. And this run, I thought,
Well,
like, because this wasn't my fastest time. Like, I was actually got a
okay.
bit like 2 seconds faster than this, but I thought I'd just try to keep it a bit tame on this run. I think this is my 3rd run that I got, to be honest.
Which one was the fastest of your 5 runs?
This one. Yeah. So the
Okay.
first run I did, I actually buggered up by like 10 seconds. So I just kept hitting everything, and I was like, "Oh no, here we go!" And then, yeah, on the second one I didn't do too well either. But the third one, like this one, did. Like when I finished this, I was just like, "Oh, phew, thank God," because I knew I'd be in the top 20. Well, hopefully, but
Yeah.
I reckon
For a
this
lot of
part
people,
right
this will be the
here
first
was.
time they've seen this track at all. You know, because we've never released it
Yeah.
as a track that
Oh,
anyone can
right,
play.
yeah,
We
yeah,
presented
that's
you
true.
guys
That's
to this
true.
first time. This is really good.
It was really long.
Oh
This
no, the
track.
track was
Would you
released,
agree?
Matt, in the trials subsequently.
Oh, afterwards. Sorry. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
It was
And
quite
then
long
when
though.
you
I
made a
must say,
beautiful
that track.
speech. Oh, sorry, Shrimpy?
I was just gonna say that draft track was like it's quite long compared to the other ones. Like there was a
Okay.
lot involved in it in this track. I thought like
Yeah, it was a
compared to
very
like
technical
Slightly.
course.
other years, it was just yeah, quite a bit to it.
So
So how
what
did you
were
approach
parts of the
learning it?
track? Yeah.
Oh, I just hammered it and hammered it and hammered it and hammered it and just tried to. I just kept rinsing it basically in the practice. Like I don't know how many times I I ran it with crashing and stuff, but it was basically just rinse and repeat. And then when I felt good, I just thought I'll just go do a run. And that was like more towards the end, you know, like the last 2 hours, because I just wanted to push it right to the limit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was stoked. Like I could have done a little bit better, but I'm happy with where I got with it. To be honest,
I mean, you did
looks
well
crazy.
enough
So
to
I've
get
watched it slow
drafted,
down before.
so... Yeah, it's
What
weird
was that,
watching
sorry?
it in slow. Well, I
It is,
mean,
eh?
you could have done better. You got drafted by a team, so you did really
Oh yeah,
well.
no, I'm obviously over the moon and ecstatic, but like it was funny because I was getting like 121s because this is a 122 I think I got or whatever. I was getting 121s quite consistently, and that would have bumped me up a bit. But nah, obviously stoked as with where I am, but you know, can always go faster.
I mean, it got you 11th in the draft, so you know
Yeah,
this is a really good run.
Yeah.
What
And,
would you say
I'm
was
my
the
worst
part
critic,
of the
to
track?
be honest.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, I suppose.
What would you say is the part of the track that you found the most challenging?
This part. That part, I'm not kidding. That part, and like, because I always kept hitting it wrong, eh? And when you come around,
Whoa.
oh, it's lagging a bit. This part
No,
here,
it's a. It
I'd
got
always keep nicking
rewinded.
that side gate. So that part, and when you come round, just wait for it to catch up. When you hook around this corner, I found that quite challenging, but then the rest was all right, I guess. Like there's a few shortcuts in here that you see some of the fast guys taking. Like if you watch Shane's run, he takes every shortcut he can. He actually cuts through oh, yeah. Oh no, I can't really say. Like he just takes every shortcut that you possibly can, which is classic Shane. It's probably
Yeah.
why he's so
Yeah.
fast.
That
to be
does
honest,
sound
but
very
I
much
thought,
like-
I thought I wouldn't take any of those shortcuts because I knew I wouldn't be able to hit them consistently. But that's why he's got that fast.
But why? So with shortcuts, why wouldn't you take a shortcut? Like, what's
Because sometimes I reckon the risk in taking a shortcut can just be too risky if you don't have the skill. Like I'm more
Okay.
risking my run as opposed to like hitting it. It depends what the shortcut is. Because sometimes they're really hard to hit, sometimes they're easy, and they will take a solid amount of time off over. It's kind of just dependent.
Yeah.
Would you agree, Smash?
Yeah, I
'Cause
find
sometimes
like
I'm like,
it's like a
oh.
high risk. It's a high risk, high reward thing. If you can get
Yeah,
it
it's a high risk,
consistently,
high
like
reward,
go for it. If you can't get it consistently, you can hit it once, and the second lap you can't hit it, then you may as well just try and do it normally because
Probably
it's
not worth it.
it's obviously not a very easy shortcut. So
Yeah.
I love it when people find them as well. I remember
Yeah,
we've
it's
had this
insane.
happen in live races as well. We've had
Oh,
over
yeah,
the
there
course of a race weekend, somebody in actually one of our quarterfinals or in the round robin dives through a hole that nobody else has gone for, and then it's on, right? Everybody else is like, well, I have
Really?
to do that now.
Yeah.
And little bits in Vaduz where we thought, well, nobody's going to try and fly through there, so yeah, everybody then tries to fly through there, and it's great.
That's crazy.
It's like somebody throwing it down and going, hey, come on, you want to beat me, you're going to have to do this too.
Yeah,
I feel
pretty
like
much.
that's actually kind of a part of it, of drone racing. Would you agree? Like finding those shortcuts and all that. Like,
Yeah,
we want
I
to make sure
definitely
people
looked at it
realise this isn't
myself.
being a fast
cheating.
pilot.
Yeah,
it's like,
this isn't
just
cheating
pushing
at
the
all.
map.
This is just cutting it where you can,
Pushing it
right?
to the
It's
limit.
a race. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
I
It's
mean,
great.
like
as
it's
long
almost
as
a
you hit-
skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Like looking at a map differently and being like, oh, I can approach that gate from that way, or
Yeah,
it's a bit of a learning.
being able
I'm
to
still
navigate a
learning
track
that,
properly and improvise as well.
Yeah, because everyone looks at them
think
differently.
how you know a good pilot is that they can find shortcuts that the track designers didn't know about. I remember with like what you were saying, Matt. Sometimes it would be like, oh, the pilots are never gonna fly through that hole. But sometimes Filippo, back in the day when he was designing the tracks, would really just be like, okay, there are these and these things that be shortcuts, but the rest definitely cannot be short circuited. And then usually MCK would be the first to find it, but Filippo would be like, oh, I did not see this part coming.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I miss Filippo.
I mean, we're not talking about glitches. Let's be clear to anybody who's not sure. We're not talking about any kind of speed running glitch or any of those kind of things. We're talking about, is anybody going to be brave enough to cut this corner? Because to do it, you've got to be in this position beforehand, and then go through such a narrow space at speed or something like that. Otherwise, it's not worth doing. Yeah, love it when because it's bravery it's nerve. It's somebody's got the nerve to do it, and make it sort of happen again and again.
Yeah, I think we can look at the shortcut spots, because we've got it on camera.
Oh yeah, it'd be better if I did
Can someone tell me what the shortcut here is? Because like I can't tell the difference here.
Instead of going around the back of these cones here, you cut between the railing and the cone.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then round here, you can cut between. You can go in between the tower. Like you don't have to go around that railing either.
Yeah.
You can
cut it closer to that cone.
That was really hard to do.
I mean, with all the gantries and girders and stuff. Yeah.
You'll see in my run when we show my draft run that I hesitate when I try to go through that. I was going to go through that second shortcut, but I was like, nah, I'm just going to do it normally. On the fly, I made that decision. So
I think we can see your run now. It would be really great to go and analyze your run.
Sounds
Is this
good.
the fastest one that you did?
This is the second of the 2 attempts.
Okay.
So yeah, this is our PlayStation run. This is the console run. One of the console runs. The only 2 that you did.
Oh yeah, we do that.
I still can't believe you only did 2 and still like.
The first one was actually not even that bad either. It was like a 123, and this was a 122.
Oh, nice.
So right here, you see, I went to go hesitate to go through it,
And it gets to you,
it
right?
didn't
This
work
is all
out as
part
well.
of the kind of nerve of competing in
Yeah.
elite sport at the top level is, you know, you got to deal with your own nerves.
Exactly. But yeah, for the most part, I found the most difficult spots on this track were coming through like the stacked gates. This part here was hard, where you twist around and go like do another.
Yeah.
It's like a weird slalom. Like it was very hard to navigate that one properly. But right here is where, like, on PlayStation especially, the frames dropped really bad. So going through like the 4 gates all stacked together.
This hurts my head just looking at it, in the sense that it hurts
I
so
just can't believe
much.
it's on PlayStation, bro. It's so impressive.
Yeah. This is how good the game
Thanks,
is. You know what?
guys.
I've got to admit, I'm
It
glad I'm
hurts.
not commentating on this track.
There's too much
this was
happening.
it was a very, very technical course. It was a big surprise to see it come out of DCL for the draft race. That's for sure.
I mean, the idea is, like I said, it was designed specifically to test everything, because obviously as
And it did that.
teams, they want to see what you can do in different types of situations, to be able to see we're not always going to do exactly the same type of course with exactly the same obstacles. So throwing all sorts of things at you, how do you fare in that? And you guys
Yeah,
obviously
exactly.
did pretty well.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Yeah, dealt with the pressure for the time being. But like when you get into the actual IRL scene, I'm sure like that pressure you feel in this is going to be escalated by like 10 times, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh god,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got all the
What
reality
would
of
you
like, if I
say?
smash this, I've smashed this. You know,
Yeah,
put
that's
game
one of
into it.
my.
If you hit something, then you know that has a bigger effect than a restart button has in game.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have a different flying style in the game versus in real life?
Personally, I haven't done very much IRL flying, so I couldn't say.
Okay.
I know that I started on Sims, so like what I do with I have a little tiny Whoop class drone, so like I do the same sort of stuff I do in the game with that little drone, but it doesn't let me let me do very much. So, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
I definitely started on the Sims, so like that's where my style kind of derives from. How about you, Shrimpy?
I'd say I fly fairly similar to. I just have all my rates fairly similar than what I do like in game, and yeah, it's fairly. I just try to set it up as close as I can. Like my styles, like I'm not as fast as what I am in real life as in game, because I haven't spent as much time. But
Okay.
you know, time will tell.
Fair enough.
Practice will tell.
So you think you're
I just
faster
have, when I was
IRL than
racing,
in
I had a
Sim?
lower camera angle
Okay.
when I was racing. I just not have it as sharp, because I felt like it was like forcing me to go faster, and they just, you know, I've probably only raced like about a handful of times, maybe about 10 times actually, in real life.
Okay. But do you feel
Yeah.
like the skills that you've learned in sim racing, and I mean, I'm saying sim as a whole, obviously DCL the game is the best thing out there, but you probably are on other sims. Do you feel like, you know, the general concept of sim racing does help you to get to the next level in real
completely-
life? Like those skills
completely.
translate?
Yeah, 100%. Like flying simulators have taught me how to fly FPV drones, 100%. Like, no doubt. Like you completely can take it into real life. It just feels like just those slight differences, you know, like with flight characteristics and all that. But they generally all fly the same, you know, same stick inputs for the same movements and stuff, you know, like you really can take it into real. That's what blew me away when I first got a drone. I was like, wow, this really does feel similar to a simulator. It's just crazy.
It's insane.
They do a good job. The developers. So big up.
Yeah, big shout to our developers. They work really hard on this, and that's what we always wanted it to be. You know, in real life seasons back in 2019, you know, we would go to different places around the world and fly our tracks, but we used to do qualifying for them in game, so the pilots could learn the tracks beforehand on an exact replica of them, and then come out to the actual real life location, you know, Lax or wherever we were in 2019, and race it as it was. And some pilots treated it differently. Some pilots grinded it loads in game because they wanted to learn it that well, and some pilots didn't want to grind it in game because they felt like they would then have to, you know, relearn it. Just depending on how confident they were, I suppose, with their gaming. You know, some of them hardly ever used sims; they just flew IRL. But our game could do that for them. And so, DCL the game. We should remind people it's available on Steam for PC and Mac. It's available on PlayStation. It's available on Xbox. And you can do what these guys have done. You can play it, with gamepads. You can play it with keyboard and mouse if you wanted to. And if you've got a real drone racing transmitter, you can connect that up too. And you can enter next year's draft or a draft later on this year.
Yeah,
you don't even have to enter a draft. To be fair, if you want to just play for the sake of playing because you love it, you can also do that. Like I think it's really great that we have this draft system, of course, and like I definitely encourage people to take part in the trials, our weekly competitions in DCL the game with new tracks every week. Like there's a lot happening for people who want to get to the top, but it's also important to remember that we're all in it. I mean, you guys are all in it because you love it more than anything else.
Yeah,
and
100%.
It's about getting better, but you don't necessarily have to like win everyone. Just do better against.
Yeah, you've got to enjoy what you're doing, eh?
Yeah.
100%.
There's even spot for people to like freestyle and stuff. There's like you can free flight on tracks and stuff. So it's definitely a sim for everybody.
Talking of everybody playing it, I like RevCorp's suggestion. He wants to know who's going to be the first Dance Dance Revolution gamepad pilot, which is a bit of a throwback. If you don't know, Dance Dance Revolution, like the old arcade games, like the massive, very, very
really
strongly
good
built
at
old
that.
arcade,
like
right?
really good.
Dance Dance Revolution. I have 2 or 3 of the game mats in my attic, in my loft. Definitely 2. I've got a bit of a retro gaming collection, so I do actually have. Good grief! But it would basically be keypad. It would basically be keyboard. It would, like left, right, up, and down. That's what the inputs would be. There would be no analog.
You have to fly arcade.
I'd love to see someone ever go.
Yeah,
quite.
I could probably do that. I reckon I would be better at that than at actually trying to fill the game with a transmitter.
Oh, we might have to put a little thing together and see about flying it.
Matt, I am
keep me updated on that one.
This.
You're serious
in
in
this,
Jeff?
If you want to do this, we can make it happen.
I'm not even sure how I would actually connect those mats to anything nowadays. They've got a serial port connection.
Surely there's an adapter thing.
Oh, there must be.
Them.
Yeah. But they've got serial port connectors, and if you don't know what serial port is, it's what PCs used to have, along with parallel ports for printers. This is old tech, right? It's not even USB. It's like old school PC tech is what it is. So you could probably get a serial port to use anyway. Yeah. Shane wants to fly a DCL race with keyboard only. Get in.
It'd probably still beat us.
Acro mode though.
I actually should have had the chat open. Can't see any of the chat.
There was something I saw in the chat that I'm trying to remember that I saw because I actually wanted to. But to answer a question about DCL coming on Nintendo Switch, no, it is not. However, if everything goes according to plan, and y'all know how development work sometimes doesn't always work as we wish, there is a project of getting DCL onto mobile. So making it into a mobile game.
Oh, she's gone and said it.
Weird.
The head of marketing and communications.
We've said it before, technically. Again, I want to put a very big disclaimer on this. It's a project, and like anyone who works in anything remotely dev can understand, it's not always the easiest thing in the world to get an app on mobile up and running. But there is an idea there to make it accessible. It would be a simplified version, because although I don't know, can like add a transmitter to a phone?
Mobile? You probably could actually. They can take USB peripherals. Yeah. You need a special. You need a.
You have like your little.
What's the cable? Somebody in the chat will know the cable you connect to a USB on a mobile of.
Dongle. It's called a
No. It's a
dongle.
specific. No. It's a specific
Damn it!
USB cable.
I
which
thought I
will
was
work
saying
with the-
something smart.
Okay, it's a dongle. Totally a dongle. And
No.
yeah. It's not. It's a something to go.
Ah.
It's a particular type of USB cable. It's not the connector. It's not the physical connector. It's anyway. It's exciting, isn't it? Next week on peripheral news, Matt will bring his gamepads, and I don't know.
Nate
says
is
it's
saying
called a
it's
cable.
a cable.
Thank you, Nate. Yes, that's it.
We
Revcorp
appreciate
wants
that
us to
input.
do. Revcorp is wondering, can we do the arcade version? We played like Floppy Bird. Whatever happened to that, Jess? Do you remember the DCL little Floppy Bird thing? Flappy Bird.
It still exists.
Where is it? Because I bet a lot of people
what's
haven't
it
even seen
called?
that.
Drone
Was it called Flappy
something.
Drone?
Drone challenge. No, because that would have been a copyright issue, I think. But if you go on the
Silvio
website,
FPV,
if you
that's the
click,
one. Sorry,
if you
I got all
click on the
excited.
side of the website, you
Yeah.
can still access that game normally if you go to the drop-down menu on the side. But I just wanted to take a second to do a special shout out to the devs and track developers, etc., who have been working around the clock in DCL for the race now, but just in general in ensuring that you guys get the best possible version of the game. There's so much that happens behind the scenes that obviously is not your job to deal with, but they do an excellent job. They pour their heart and soul into this, and I do think I like giving them the recognition that they deserve.
Oh no, they deserve it, 100%. I reckon the tracks are
100%.
getting cooler and cooler every week. Like it just doesn't get old. Just like log in. Oh, sick! There's a new track. Oh, sick! It's never.
Yeah, I gotta love having new tracks. We've been asking for it for a while now too. We're just having like refreshing, like breath of fresh air in the game. It's definitely really nice.
Yeah, 100%. You do just get over just rinsing the same track. It's exciting, when there's a new one.
It happened for a little while, but it's what to be expected, right? Like, can't add new stuff all the time. Like, it takes a lot of work.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's not a lack of wanting to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could imagine there'd be a lot that goes on to developing these games.
I think one thing that we wanted to show as well is to continue in the spirit of rivalry. For once, not between you two, but there is footage somewhere of apparently Smash winning a race against Star. And it's interesting piece of footage because obviously you guys are bound to face off at some point. Go ahead.
Star is not happy. Star is not happy right now.
Essentially, what happened
calling him out hard.
Star dipped down to PlayStation to see how bad it actually was and how hard it was to fly on PlayStation. And it turns out he is an insanely good pilot, regardless of where he's flying on. And he set a first place time on PlayStation here on Castle Charge, I think is what it's called. Yeah, so I was not having any of it. I'm like, I'm going to beat you. I'm making my goal to beat you.
Oh, there
and beat him, I did. So.
By how much was that? I didn't see the gap.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know it was by like a second.
Wow.
I've further bettered this time on this track, but this is what what has been uploaded.
Yeah,
a second,
almost a second.
Mate, that's not even 2/10.
Yeah,
it was like an
Amazing.
Hour. Yeah, most. Of
sorry.
I
have like I said, I have bettered that time, so that's where I thought the second came from.
Well, we're not hating on you, Star. Bless him, he's in the chat like, wait, what? He did not know he was going to be dragged.
Yeah. That was fun. That was a fun rivalry.
On my phone.
Shane Adams, who we must also publicly, if we haven't already, welcome to DCL, Pressure FPV, who's our new track designer. We love what Filippo's always done in the previous years. Philippa wanted to move on to some different things, so he's still partly involved with what we do. But Shane Adams is taking up the track design baton, whatever it is, job. And yes, Shane, thanks for getting us the footage and finding what you can. Shane, we're going to give you some more work.
Job,
People
man.
want to play, so we need the game available on mobile. We need it to work with transmitters. Thank you, Silvio FPV, for figuring out that what I was talking about was an on-the-go cable, which is an OTG cable, which is a type of USB that you use for getting things like mice and stuff like that to work on a phone. So we need that, Shane. You can get all this sorted, please. And also we want dance pad connections. Somebody send me a serial port to USB connector, please. And also Shane, which I love, and I was wondering about us doing this. Shane wants us to have some kind of silly challenge for all the pilots to take part in, like an easy track where everybody has to use keyboard, or blind, or upside down, or something like that. Actually, that's the sort of thing we want to do with What the Quad in future, isn't it, Jess?
Yeah, this is exactly the point. I mean, today we're showing reruns of some amazing stuff you did, but this year we're hoping to bring What the Quad to the next level, where we'll be able to fly like during our interviews and do some fun challenges where it's not just flying, but flying with your transmitter upside down, or
You know, like Top Gear? Top Gear, the car-based TV show, they used to have that leaderboard and a star and a reasonably priced car sort of challenge, and everyone on the show would set a time. I want us to do something like that, where like everybody comes on the show has to do a thing, and we sort of, track them over a season. I think it would be fun.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Star's telling Shane you got to get all this done by Monday. I don't think that's fair. Tuesday will be fine. Well, we got a busy week next week.
Yeah, Monday's public holiday, so
true. Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah, long weekend.
Oh, by Tuesday. Tuesday is fine.
Yeah, well, by Tuesday. Next week, though, of course, it's race week. Finally, we're back. Yes.
Is it? I didn't remember that.
No, it's come around fast, eh? Ever since the draft selection, it's like, oh, wow.
Since the draft, yeah, but since the last race of last year, no. It's like when the race finishes, where's the next race? Come on, I'm bored. Let's go. Let's do more racing. I want to talk. I want to throw words at you. We've got race week next week.
I was there, like between the in the race breaks, thinking, oh, this is like so long. When does the season start? And then the season starts, and I'm like, can we go back to the part where I didn't have to work? It was fun. But other rails, this year, what we are going to do, though, there is going to actually be a mid-season break. So the first 3 races will happen April, May, and June. And then during July and August, we'll do a summer break. I mean, it's Northern Hemisphere summer. I know for you, Shrimpy, it will not be summer, but because we are aware a lot of people use the summer break to be able to do real life outside racing, because that's obviously when the weather is optimal to do that. And then we'll return back in September. Also, some of us want to take holidays and go to the beach. I'm not going to name names or anything.
Is there another draft selection this year?
Yes, there is. That is a very good question. Exactly. I mean, technically there was supposed to be a second one last year as well, but that kind of didn't happen. But there is in August, I believe, going to be a selection. I do not have the exact dates right now, so they will be published when I have them at some point. But it will be similar to what happened this time. So where you have, I think it's 2 weeks to be able to grind multiple tracks. At the end of that, the top 200 PC, 50 Xbox, 50 PS4, I think it's that, get to have a race day that lasts 24 hours. And yeah. So the whole same process.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So those who took part in the draft selection and weren't picked, you have a second chance to be picked.
Yeah.
And those who didn't take part because they didn't read my 100 different messages about it and didn't realize it was going on, can now take part and be selected by a pro team. I'm throwing too much shade. No, but On the reels, DCL is always welcoming new people all the time. We are absolutely thrilled to be able to get new people in on these drafts. And even if you're not necessarily selected, that's not necessarily a reflection on your talent. You know, Smash and Shrimpy, I think you guys are both saying you've taken part in the draft before, weren't selected, but kept pushing, kept grinding, and now you're here.
Don't give up.
Exactly.
That's it. You just can't give up. if you really want to do it, you know. It's like you say, it takes a lot of commitment, doesn't it? I don't know how many hours you've got clocked up on the sim, but I've almost got 2,000.
I wish I could keep track, dude. Honestly, it doesn't tell you anywhere on PlayStation. Otherwise, it'd tell you.
Not right yet.
Jess is just going to brighten up a bit.
Primo.
Can't leave Jess out. There she goes. If you missed the announcements on who made it through the DCL draft, and we've been saying that these guys got in this year through our first draft, and there'll be another draft selection later on. If you need a recap, you can find all the details on our website or Jess. Oh, by the way, shout out to our new producer, Freshie, who's making lots of things happen right now.
Yeah, great work.
Do you, Jess? Do you want to do the drafts video? He's asking, or have we got any questions in the chat that anybody wants to ask?
I mean, we can show. I have no idea what draft video we're talking about right now.
The draft picks. If anybody missed the announcement.
Oh yeah, but that is a very, very long.
It's quite long, isn't it? Yeah, it's about 7 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 7 minutes long.
You can find the details on the website if you want to know.
If you go to our various social channels, it's on there though, on our Instagram, our YouTube, etc. We can maybe post the. I don't have access to the chat right now, but yeah, like Matt said, check our website. Go to all of our social channels. Our website also has a comprehensive list, and you can check out who the draftees are, so the people who picked through the draft selection and free pick process for the first half of the season, because like we just said, there'll be a second draft. However, what you can also see are the full pilot rosters for the season, because those were published yesterday, I believe.
Yeah.
So you
I've
can
just put a link in the
chat. New pilot.
So is Shane Adams. And Shane Adams has been kicked by our own chatbot. Nice.
Oh yeah, because Nightbot's Shane Adams doesn't have moderator status.
Yeah, Shane.
Do that. But yeah, Nightbot doesn't allow you guys to. I love that it's written, "What were you thinking? Stop posting."
Nightbot is throwing shade at Shane. I love it.
Nightbot is mean. But
trying to bring it back.
Yeah, the general idea. Wait, I was talking about draft selections and the dates and teams, and yeah, so the full pilot rosters, are available on our website. If you go to dcl.aero, so AERO, and you go to the team section, you can see all of the teams and go see the full rosters for at least the first half of the season. The rosters can change slightly after the second draft selection. So you will see that obviously SmashFPV and Shrimpy Boy have both made the cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's heaps of new faces on the roster.
Well, actually, we should discuss that. Like, there are a lot of new pilots. A lot of people came in through the draft. We've had some big changes. We've had a couple of transfers as well. Like Alex Zamora, who we mentioned earlier on, previous world champion with XBlades, now racing with SDT. That's a big pickup. And you know, Shane,
Andreas Klein.
Shrimpy Boy, like, we got quite a few. Klein has moved around. We got a few more pilots with SDT. And I see, one thing I must say about Spain Drone Team, every time there's a post, like a DCL post on Instagram or something like that, every time, like, there's a lot of support for SDT. There's a lot of comments coming in on Facebook or on Instagram or whatever from people cheering on SDT. So SDT have clearly got not only really great pilots, but a lot of support and a lot of people in the community wanting them to do well too. It's always people supporting SDT that I am seeing mostly and first as well. So SDT are coming.
I mean, I can see this from the votes and the Community Choice Awards. If my memory does not Ludmi, it's so Raiden won the best team in the Community Choice Awards for the World Championship, possibly also due to the fact that they won the World Championship. But I believe SDT actually came second, because people are. This is one thing that's also great about the community. Like, of course, it's about being the fastest and winning. Like, that's the important bit. But you see it when it's a good team with a good fan base where everyone's just having a good time. It just makes people like watching that as well.
Now, I think even Squid from Spain got the second. He got
Oh
second
God,
pro
yeah.
pilot of the year or something. He got
Yeah.
So they're
He got
going
so
strong,
many.
eh?
I think if we'd have done an analysis of the Twitch chat, his name probably would have come up the most. There were so many people in the Twitch chat cheering him on.
He's a legend.
Yeah, that he is. But that's how it goes, I guess. So a few things just quickly to mention about the Drone Grand Prix, mainly whilst we're at it. There are a lot of new pilots, like Matt was saying. There are transfers. I mean, we talked about Andreas Klein and Alex Zamora. There are a few more, but I don't have them in my head right now. So, I mean, the rosters, you'll see your old favorites, but also some new faces who are done with it and ready to go. And it's going to be really exciting and really tense and close, I think. We've changed the format ever so slightly of the World Championship. So something that will be coming that we've all been... Oh, Matt is ecstatic about this. Matt, do you want to say...
This was my idea.
It was my idea as well, okay? Before you told me, I had the idea. But then you told me, and I was like, yeah, exactly. This confirms.
That's why she was best host of the year, isn't it? That's why she won.
Go for it, Matt. What is the amazing feature coming to the World Championship?
So Jess had the amazing idea. Well, I know people loved it when we used to do it in real life races. It's featured a little bit in our virtual seasons at the end of things. But we're going to be celebrating it a bit more. I'm talking about big heats. When we used to do real life races back in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, we used to do big heats a lot. Then it was a knockout format as well. It wasn't a round robin. Then it used to be 8 teams go through qualifying, and then 2 teams meet in the quarterfinals, 2 teams meet, and they knock each other out, and so on. But we used to have big heat races. We used to have all 8 quads in the air, all racing. Now, in the virtual seasons, you've only seen big heats in the finals at the end of a virtual Drone Grand Prix and in the Women's Cup as well, when they had all of the pilots flying. We are bringing big heats back in all of the round robin now. So every time we have a race between 2 teams in our round robin stage, and remember, every team does race every other team in the round robin stage, you're going to get to see 2 pilots against 2 pilots in a single heat like we did last year. The other 2 pilots from one team will race the other 2 pilots like we did last year. But then we're going to have a big heat between all 8 of them as well. Every stage of the round robin will now be 3 races between teams instead of just 2. And one of them is a big heat with all of them fighting for points. Can't wait.
Oh, that is hype.
Sick.
I can't wait either.
Yeah.
Back to the
big
old
heats
days.
are the best.
It's a great addition.
So we're really happy to be bringing them back because they are always a lot of fun and exciting. I think one of the
It's
other...
cooler and cooler.
This one might affect the 2 of you a little bit less, but there's also been a slight change of format in the Women's Cup. Is that instead of flying heats and accumulating points, it will be a knockout format. Every heat, 1 pilot gets knocked out. So it starts with all 6 pilots selected for that day who fly, and then whoever was the slowest gets eliminated. And next heat, the slowest again gets, until you get a winner, essentially. And this then repeated on the other track. So it's going to make for some really tight races because it's about keeping the stamina. Like, I think the fun part about knockout that I find personally is you really can't make mistakes. And so it's a choice of, do you take the risk to go faster, or do you choose the I'll be a bit more stable, but I might not necessarily win, which works for the first few heats where, you know, there are like 6-5 of you. But when you get to 1-on-1 at some point, you've got to send it. And yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
I'm personally very happy about this format.
I'm delighted by this. I think it's really exciting. It's a brave new format as well, essentially having a kind of survival format where it is, you know, a race. They'll be shorter, whereas we were doing like 4-lap big heats last year. We're going to do shorter races in the Women's Cup. But the pilot who's last is out, and then we go again, and the pilot who's last of that one is out. And this kind of knockout survival system, I don't think that's been streamed in this sort of way before. I'm really excited we're doing that, and it's going to give, you know, the best pilots a chance to show how good they are. And it's going to give the slower pilots, you know, that bravery moment of, you know, it's now or never every time. There isn't another race where you can try and score a few points. It's like, if you come last in this one, you're done.
This is it.
So come and get it, like I always say.
Yeah.
I think we'll be surprised by some of the results. And there is a question from Spain Drone Team in the chat. So for a question for both pilots, you've been selected by your team. You've had your first training sessions. So how have you felt about this? How was it surprising to you? Did you learn new things? What were you expecting? Did it live up to expectations? Essentially, just talk us through everything that you were thinking and feeling in, you know, the first few practices you've had with the teams that you recently joined. I don't know who wants to start.
Oh, you go first.
I'll let Shrimpy go.
Smash
I've honestly been having a blast. I've been having a blast, Like, I'm having so much fun flying with these guys, like, because it's at like really strange times for me. But I'm usually not a morning guy, but I'm like, you know, excited as to get out of bed and train with these fellas. Like, it is, I don't know, I thoroughly enjoy it. It's good just flying with people across the world, and I don't know, meeting all these new, like, you know, meeting these new pilots I've known of but haven't really flown with, like Silvio and Roma and Cloud, and yeah, I don't know, I love it. I'm so pumped still. I look forward to training every week.
You get a chance to sort of, you know, chat with a few people online, and, you know, meet sort of gamers online, and, you know, anyway, you know, any online gaming provides that. But there's much more of a personal connection here, right, Shrimpy? Because, you know, you're actually talking with these guys and working together.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lot more personal. Like, you feel like we're mates. Obviously, the language barrier, like, I'm just going to work on that and learn a bit more Spanish. But, you know, it's just a part of it. I guess. But no, it makes me feels real homey. You know, it feels good. I don't feel nervous or anything. Like, I don't know. It's fun.
Sorry. As for me, my professional career, I guess you could say, hasn't even really fully started yet. I haven't flown with the team or anything like that. Due to the issues that the PlayStation has with being able to put the game into like a race build, pro build, I need to be on PC. So hopefully within the next couple weeks or months, I'll have my PC here to actually be able to participate. But till then, I'm just practicing, continuing to make sure my stick time is staying up to par.
And it is, I've used the word cutthroat before to describe XBlades. That may be a little strong, but it's an internal fight for positions, right? It's every race they've had, the 4 pilots who are racing those virtual, you know, the next virtual drone Grand Prix, those 4 spots, they weren't even secured, you know, last season when we basically always saw Killian Rousseau, Ashton Gamble, MCK, you know, when we always saw the same kind of Alex Zamora as well, of course, before he moved to SDT. Although it was always those 4 pilots, it wasn't a given. They weren't just like, hey, you've won the World Championship before, you're going to be the stars. Every race, they had to earn those spots. And that's what happens behind the scenes at XBlades. So you fight with everybody else who've been picked for the DCL year to be on that start, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. If you don't make it, I guess it's like you're on the bench sort of thing. Like I'm sure there's going to be other spots where there's like you have a better chance of completing the course. Like some other pilot might have a lot of struggles on certain course, whereas another pilot's on the bench might have a better strengths and stuff in those courses, which I haven't actually had I don't have the knowledge or the experience to actually say that that's actually correct, but I feel like that would be one good way to have their professional team sort of lay out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there is certain people that have certain strengths on different tracks. Like some people have like there's ladders that come up in a track, and people are like they can't do ladders. Like some people are really good at ladders, and others such as and other sorts and such. So it's just it's going to be difficult. It's going to be fun, and I'm excited to go through the entire journey. Hopefully I can actually compete in one of these races one of these days.
I think it's
we
quite
all-
cool having, you know, that reaching, sorry, but you know, get into that top 4. Like it keeps that competitiveness going. Would you agree, bro? It's like, oh, I've got to keep going, keep getting faster because like I'm here now,
100%.
but I'm not really. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
like to actually
it's
be
like
racing, you know?
it's almost like what you were
It's
doing with the
motivates
trials
you.
and stuff, but like at a much higher level of skill. So it's gonna be
Yeah.
intense. It's gonna be intense for sure.
Yeah.
What's it like
It's like
behind
no
the scenes at
rest day.
SDT, Shrimpy Boy? How do you know anything about how the 4 pilots get picked for a Grand Prix? Do you race it out between you as well?
Yeah, so we all with I don't know if I'm allowed to say who's flying, but yeah, we're
No,
kind of from our 3 practices we've had.
maybe don't say who's flying the next one, but I'm just curious how that
Yeah.
selection is made.
I think, well, we've just had our 3 training sessions, so I think they kind of just pick the top 4 guys from those sessions, or just whoever's got the pace. So yeah,
Okay,
I'm
so
still
Is it-
kind of learning, but I think that's how it goes. I think.
Is it more based on who's the fastest or who has like the most consistency in their flying? Because you can
I
set
think-
one fast lap and beat everyone, but if you're setting like 10 good laps,
Yeah,
and rather than that one where you crash.
It's the consistent and fast, but like it's a bit of both really. I mean, the fast pilots in our team are pretty consistent. Like Alex Zamora is just insane.
Yeah, I think that's the level.
So yeah, no.
I mean,
Well, there's actually quite a few.
It's going to be really good to see Zamora, lifting your team and improving everybody on your team, Shrimpy. Now that he's transferred from XBlades to Spain drone team, it's also going to be really interesting to see Zamora up against XBlades because that's going to happen at some point. In the round robins, every team races each other. We're not saying who's been picked for this drone Grand Prix. The teams do have to nominate their pilots, announce their pilots to DCL in advance for drone Grand Prix. They don't just turn up on the day with whoever they want, but we're not going to go public with who that is for our first race yet. But, Killian Rousseau, Ashton Gamble, they're still on XBlades. Zamora's now over with SDT. At some point, SDT are going to race XBlades every time we have a drone Grand Prix. And if those guys are on the rosters, we're going to see them up against each other. It's got to happen at some point this season, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's going to be interesting when that race happens.
Very great racing.
Can't wait, to be honest.
Are there, Twitch chat, obviously we've been trying to answer all your questions, but feel free to add any more before we leave you, as I am now losing my voice.
We should tell people when this is all going to kick off then, Jess.
This is what I was going to do. Hi. The first Drone Grand Prix of the season will take place in the virtual version of Vaduz, Liechtenstein, which is historically a city that is very close to us because DCL was founded as a Liechtenstein company. Although we have people from over the world, like Matt, it's still our home, and we're really excited to be able to have that virtual replica of Vaduz that our pilots can race through. So that will be on Saturday, the 23rd of April from 12:00 UTC. So that's PM because the AM PM system is stupid, but it's called PM. So Central European time, that's 2 p.m. Matt, your British summer time is 1 p.m. And
1 p.m.,
I know you said all the other time zones.
8 a.m.
in one
Eastern.
of your videos that you sent to me. Exactly. Matt, go. with the time zones.
8 a.m. Eastern time, which was also 8 p.m. China time. I think that's right. 8 p.m. Eastern means it's what? 8 a.m. Eastern would be 4 a.m. Pacific, I think. Where are you? What time zone is Toronto? Smash, where's Toronto?
We're Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so 8 a.m. yours. And New Zealand, that might be the most easterly we've ever been. I think, what are you, plus 11?
Yeah.
12.
Shrimpy, what's your time zone?
Yeah, I think it's
plus
what time
12.
is it right now where you are?
It's 10 to 7 in the morning.
So you're 11 hours.
Oh, 10 to 7 in the morning.
10 to 7. No, that's
Wow, so
11
10 to 8
hours.
in the
No, sorry,
evening
10,
here. So
10
that's 11
hours
hours,
before me. So 11 hours.
11
for you.
hours from here. Yeah. So
I can do.
I was up super early this morning.
Man.
Poor thing.
Yeah, so this was 5
It was up
a.m.
at 3 a.m.
when we started doing this. Oh.
Yeah.
I love how you guys are
so-
basically in the same time because of how time zones work. Shrimpy is
like
in
a
the
day
future.
line.
I've never wrapped my head around it. Yeah, I'm in the future, basically.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you
there's
guys are always
generally a
celebrating
line.
New Year before everybody else and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, think about it. There's a
See the world
line
first,
somewhere
mate.
in the
See the sun.
world where, like, you step over it and you've
Yeah.
gained a day, or you step and you've lost a day. Like, it's
I've crossed
so
it
surreal.
twice doing esports events
Have
around
you?
the world.
Wow.
And in fact, I crossed it from east to
Cool.
west when we did the Great Wall of China in 2018. I went out to Los Angeles, did some work at E3, and did a gaming tournament. And then, no, not E3, it was a different one. Went over to Los Angeles, did a gaming tournament there, flew over the dateline. Oh, hello, we've got a graphic up. Flew over, good
We
God.
have a great graphic here.
Yeah, flew over the dateline, went to Shanghai, did IEM Shanghai, and then went to Beijing, and then we did the Great Wall of China, and then went to Paris and did a major in Paris. So I've flown around the world in both directions doing events. The first time I did it, this line, Jess, the first time I did it, I was on the plane going, when do we cross the international dateline? When is it? And the stewardesses and the stewards were like, oh, we don't know. It's like, no, I need to know. When do I like teleport into the future or set my watch back a day? Like, where is it? Thinking, it is geographically, there is a point. And they went, I don't know.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is,
now.
So the general point of this initial conversation was that just Google 12 p.m. UTC and look at what time it is where you live. Like, make my job easier for me here, you guys.
Still a bit of convoluted.
Right. 4 a.m. West Coast, 8 a.m. East Coast states, 1 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. Central European time, and 1 in the morning if you're shrimpy. No, that's not right. Midnight if you're shrimpy.
It will be live on Twitch, so everything you will be seeing whilst it is happening virtually, everyone will be live at that point racing from wherever they're racing. So it's going to be unexpected twists and turns, loads of action that you really should not miss. 6 of the best teams in the world with some truly elite pilots on there. There's both the World Championship, where every team has 4 pilots, as well as the Women's Cup, where each team is represented by 1 pilot. And all of this is going to be like really, really great racing. I can't stress enough how amazing these pilots are. I am constantly in awe. So yeah, tune into that. We'll be live. Matt will obviously be there doing what he does best and, telling us what's going on, talking to people, just being his usual Matt self. We hope to see Smash and Shrimpy. Smash, I'm assuming not for this race because, the PC situation. I haven't seen the race rosters yet, so I genuinely don't know if Shrimpy is on it or not, but we really hope to see both of you racing soon.
We're cheering you on, bud.
Yeah.
Now, likewise, bro.
Good luck to all the pilots who I know there are a lot of you in the Twitch chat. So to those racing, good luck. I hope you guys do amazing. I'm sure that you'll do amazing and you can be proud of yourselves no matter what the final outcome is. I don't
Um,
see any more questions in the Twitch chat, but if you guys have any last words, that sounds so dramatic. Questions to each other, any
Any fun?
you want to
Smack
thank your
talk.
mom for being supportive?
Yeah, I might give a shout out
We'll
after
go
you,
for
bro.
it.
Like, if you want to say anything, I might give a shout out
Yeah,
to a few
well,
people
I was
after.
just gonna say shout out to XBlades and shout out to DCL as well as Cyclone Drone Racing Team. Without any of you guys, none of this would have been possible. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm very grateful for all of you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, I just
And
like to say
Future
the same.
Boy?
Like, thank you for having me on. It was been such a cool
Yeah,
experience doing this, and thanks again to Spain for picking me. Like, I'll hold this close to my heart. Thanks to my mum, my dad, and all my mates that's kind of like supported me. Thanks to Kiwi Quads and Fox Air for kind of supporting me, and Spy U Media. And there's a little Kiwi. Oh, there's so many names. Matt, Casey, Ollie, just all my homies. Thanks for supporting me, and thanks to the DCL
Hell yeah.
for making this all happen. It's awesome being able to do this. So yeah, I thank you.
For sure, for sure.
It's been a real pleasure having you guys on the show as well. I'm really happy I got
Thank
to
you for having us.
meet you. You know, it's always fun
Yeah,
to
thank
like
you.
see people. I see you guys all on the Discord and stuff, but then when I get to chat to all the different pilots, I always have such a good time because you're all so interesting
Yeah.
in different ways. Matt,
And
do you
this
have
has been
any
really fun.
final words?
It's great to have What the Quad back and have a chance to actually chat with people as well. And we have got some ideas to put some more fun sort of features and things into it in future. But I've got to say, you guys, Smash, Shrimpy, not only like fantastically well in the draft coming in 11th and 12th, as we said earlier on as well, you guys are clearly going to fit right in. It is such a warm, fun community. And you guys are both going to do your teams really proud, I'm sure, just chatting to you now. Congratulations to you both again.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Yeah. So I want to thank all of you for taking the time as well. As both of you stated, you're not in ideal time zones to be taking part right now, so I do appreciate you going out of your way.
No.
Well, Matt, this is a standard night for you, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, it's
But thank
early
you
for
for
me.
taking the
8
time.
p.m., yeah.
Yeah. No,
I'm
thanks for having
hungry.
us,
I'm
It's
so
awesome.
hungry right
Yeah, I'm
hungry
gonna be
too,
making a
actually.
Yeah, I
coffee.
got some stuff to do.
now. Yeah, good.
Got
Go
life
live your
stuff to
lives,
do.
you know. I know, it turns out people have lives. Who'd have thought? Anyway,
Yeah.
we
Well,
really
enjoy the long
It was a
appreciate
pleasure, guys.
Oh yeah, happy Easter everyone a little bit in advance.
Happy
Stay tuned
Easter.
to our socials. We have a special Easter thing that we're gonna
Ooh.
do on social
Oh.
media, so stay tuned for that. But yeah,
Right
quick
on.
summary: 23rd of
Thanks, yeah.
April, 12:00 UTC. Get back on Twitch because we're having the best racing in the world right here.
And
Thanks,
we got
everyone,
What the Quad
yeah.
next
and
week,
Very
Jess?
we
Is there
do.
a What the Quad next week as well?
There's supposed to be one.
There might be one next week. Yeah.
Yeah, the idea is that
No
we go
confirmation.
back to doing What the Quad regularly. We'll, of course, when we have everything confirmed, be letting all of you know on social media. So you can be sure to tune in. But we're really hope to get do a lot more What the Quads this year because there's so many pilots who are super interesting and we really want to introduce all of them to you properly.
Hell yeah. I'd like to meet Shane on one of these one day.
Yeah.
I think that would be
Yeah.
quite a lot of fun.
I think it'd be a good
Yeah, I
chat.
think. Yeah. So bye everyone and have a nice day, evening, morning, wherever you are. See you soon.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good one.